And so we married between my junior and senior year. We really loved each other and decided to get married sooner than later, so rather than finish school, why not? I'd say the first 2 years of our marriage were fantastic from my standpoint. Things were not going good in Jerry's mind and heart and soul at the time. She had some expectations coming into marriage, as we all do, and I was not meeting those expectations. She probably occasionally tried to tell me about it, but it was just going right over my head at the time. We came home from church one Sunday. She said some strong things to me, and it was somewhat like, Eric, I'm not enjoying being married to you. I don't think I can go on. I don't enjoy you. I don't like you. In fact, I hate you. And I have to leave. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I spent the next half hour to an hour trying to talk her out of it, trying to say what's wrong, what's going on. Or she was ready to leave, and she was leaving. And she did. She walked out the door. I'll give her a day or two to kind of think through this, and she'll be back by Monday or Tuesday, and we can talk through this and try to work some things out. Well, one day turned into 2, 2 days turned into 3, 3 days into a week, month, 6 months. We were not communicating at all. She did not want to have anything to do with me. That went on for a full year. In the meantime, I'm trying everything in my power to get my wife back. Calling her off and on. I was sending her a note, buying her gift, asking her out on date, and she didn't want to have anything to do with me. It was pure hell. Constantly wrestling with God and asking Him, why are you not bringing her back? And I remember one night of many, many sleepless nights, but kind of just bawling my eyes out and crying out to God like a person would do who's hurting, and I was. I was saying the same words that Jerry said to me a year ago. I can't do this anymore. I've tried everything to get her back, and I can't do it. And you have to take over and take care of this. And if you want our marriage to continue, you're the one that's going to have to do it. I'm giving it completely over to you. At that point, I wrote Jerry a note, a pretty simple note. I just said basically that. I said, Jerry, I've been trying to get you back, to do everything in my power this past year, and it's not working. And I can't keep going like this. It's tearing me up inside. And last night, I basically finally had to give it over to God. Why that took me a year, I'll never know. I guess I'm a slow learner, but I finally came to the point where I said to God, it's yours. This marriage is yours. There was a laundry list of things that I had to release to God, marriage being one of them. Trying to do everything in my power to get Jerry back. And I had to release that control. I had to release it to God. I had to release the fact that my reputation, was being scarred. I had myself to think about. My brother was a senior pastor of the church we were attending. My dad was an elder at the church. Jerry and I were leading Bible studies. Man, what are people going to think about this? Well, I had to release that. And I think what God did in me at that point in time, He released I guess I'd call it anxiousness about the whole situation. I didn't know if I was going to be married to Jerry. I didn't know if I was going to be single the rest of my life. But in giving it over to God and releasing that to God, I did find peace. I found peace that night. The other thing that God released in me was the desire to control my life. I didn't want to be in control anymore. I wanted to depend on God, because if that was not the truth, then it all depended on me. And I was messing up in a major way. And me releasing those things and writing that note to Jerry, it allowed Jerry to kind of take a first step. I asked her last night what was released in her, and one of those things was she finally had the first glimmer of hope that this might work once she read those words that I had given up on it and given control to God. She didn't come running back to me at that time immediately. I wish she would have. But the process took another 6 months, so we were apart. We were separated for 18 total months. But what she did do was it enabled her to take a first step, and that was to go see a good counselor, and then I was involved in counseling. And so it was another long 6 months before we got together. But the biggest thing I've learned is release is really about relinquishing control in your life. And what I was able to find out is that verse really rang true for me, that I was able to not be anxious for anything, that God was in control, and if there were issues in my life, He was a part of them, and I didn't have to handle them all myself.